Guys, Ash here coming at you today with Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video. We have a champion guide on Luria. She's a Dark Elf Spirit Affinity epic champion who's actually pretty dang solid. This is one of the rare cases here on the channel that I recorded this guide already. I started the video by basically saying that she's been power crept a bit. She's not as special as she once was. And at the end of the video, she actually impressed me a lot more than I was expecting. So I'm re-recording it because I don't want to start out on a negative tone with the champion that I honestly went in. It's been a while. It's been years since I had to use this champion previously. So I'm re-recording it for you guys. I also noticed on my analytics and in comments that a lot of people don't realize, or a lot of people are discovering this channel, I should say, as their first experience with me. So hi, I'm your mediocre host here. I'm Ash, and I have another channel. It's called Ash Raid Shadow Legends, where I have more than just champion guides on it. So go ahead and check it out if you so choose. Shout out to Little Eon helping us in the game. Can you please do a guide on Luria? I don't know what to do with her. We have a user hey Ash, can you do Luria sometimes? Is she good? Is she worth enough to shut down Sun Wukong? Interesting. And then Little Eon coming at me again, guys. Hey, that's enough of an intro. Let's go ahead and take a look at Luria. After all these years, this old school champion in the game, does she still have what it takes to be worth investing in? Alright guys, so as I mentioned, Luria is a Dark Elf champion. She's old school, man. She's been in here in the game, that is, forever. She definitely fits the sexy Dark Elf aesthetic, right? I like the one leg kind of fishnet thing going on here and the other leg not. Yeah, good looking little champ there, right? We have an attack-based champion as well. Base stats, 13k on the HP, super squishy. Glass cannony, right? 1487 is really solid base attack, and 947 on the defense. It's a little below average for an attack-based nuker. 104 on the speed, is pretty solid as well. Reviews on her in-game are pretty solid. Her best scores are Arena Offense, Ice Golem's Peak, because she has a Deny Revival on the A2. But first, Cursed Sword, the A1 ability, attacks one enemy, has a 75% chance win book to placing either a decreased defense, a heal reduction, or a decreased speed. The good news is they're all the big version of the debuff. That's an 80% land rate if you pick up the Sniper Mastery. So it's a good, dependable land rate on these debuffs. They last for 2 turns. The bad news is the RNG, the variability of what debuff you're going to get on that A1. On the A2, Mark of Fear, it's an AoE attack. We have a 75% chance of placing a freeze debuff for 1 turn. Enemies killed by this skill cannot be revived. So a Deny Revival ability on a 4-turn cooldown, get choked up when I talk about Luria, man. The Deny Revive is really solid, but the 75% freeze for years, this was the best the game had to offer in terms of epic freezers. Luria was it. She was the only dependable freezer out of epics on an AoE, with all apologies to like Jingle Hunter on a single target, right? On the A3, Hex attacks one enemy, removes all buffs, 100% chance of placing a block buffs debuff for 2 turns. Super solid. Great against really anybody, right? It is a single target. The upside is a great move. Do a lot of damage. I think it has a 5.4 multiplier. Do a lot of damage, remove all their buffs, and then place a block buffs instead. It's a great neutralizer if you don't just kill them, right? Good against bosses, good against champions, good against everywhere, good in the arena as well. Again, the downside, though, is a 5-turn cooldown, cannot be booked out to a 4 or 3 or anything like that. So there it is, guys, a fairly simple kit. There's no passive, there's no aura on this champion. Again, she's an old school. She was here since day 1 in the game, and they can't even give her any lore. They give her no lore inside the game. What a shame. What a shame. Let's take a look at those multipliers. HellHades.com does rank her a 3. The reason I was saying on the first recording that she's power crept is because of that freeze, you know? It used to be so special in the game, but where she lacks for her, I guess, uniqueness that she brings to the table with that freeze, even though it's still a useful ability, don't get me wrong, she makes up for it in the Deny Revival, which is still hard to find in the game. She has a 3.55 multiplier on her A1. She has a 3.6 multiplier on the AoE on the A2, and she has a 5.4 multiplier on the A3. She's a strong damage ranking on the A3. She has an average on the A2 and an average on the A1. Overall, she's not going to be your main nuker, okay? if you're investing or if you're looking to, or on the borderline investing in Luria to be a massive damage dealer for your account, she's going to let you down. She really is. Those multipliers are really solid, and her attack looks like it could scale pretty well as also, but she's more of a control, decent damagey, somewhere between a support and like a really OP nuker, like a Magnar, Negorio, or Dirindil, or Fligia, or something like that, you know? She's not as tough as those ones in terms of how hard she hits, but she really has that really nice enemies killed by this kill cannot be revived. This allows her to be a Sun Wukong killer in the arena, which is really nice. He's squishy anyway, so we don't need that massive nuke against Sun Wukong specifically. It's a neutral affinity matchup. They're both spirit affinity as well. Let me show you how I have her built in today's video. Even though we've talked a lot about arena on this champion, you know, without all that said, to be fair, she's not an arena meta champion. You don't really see her in the arena that much. You don't see that much of her in the game. However, especially progression in the arena, she can be great. You can use her as a CC and a nuker. So let's just say you have, you know, if you're just starting out in the game, you have like a turn meter booster, maybe you have Apothecary, you have an increased speed. Like let's just say you have Apothecary, a Madame Ceres, or a War Maiden, any debuffer on the squad. You have your nuker, let's say you have your Kale, your Aethel, your Elhain, whatever. You have that fourth spot that's kind of open, right? It's kind of a flex spot that you can do whatever you think is worthwhile on your account, your team. Luria fits in beautifully there because she has a decent amount of damage and she has a solid amount of control, right? That all being said, I do have her built more for PvE in today's video, right? More of a faction war build. Perception, and accuracy. I actually ran faction wars, damn it, in the first video that I recorded on her, so maybe I'll weave that in. But either way, we have accuracy on the banner, we have crit damage on the amulet, we have defense on the ring. So I keep saying this is like a PvE build, not a PvP build. If I wanted to run her in the arena, the only adjustments that I would make, it's 3. It's attack on the ring instead of defense, because we don't care that much about survivability comparatively to PvE. HP percentage is what I have on her chest right now. I would swap that out for attack percentage as well, trying to get her attack up for it's at 3,000 right now. Really want that to be around 4,000, you know, depending on where you are in the game, obviously your artifact levels, but as high as possible, right? Speed on the boots, and we have crit damage on the gauntlets. If you're just starting out in the game, crit rate is totally fine on the gauntlets for Luria. In terms of stat priorities that we want to be aiming for when we build her, definitely crit rate, crit damage, accuracy, speed. If I had to prioritize, I would say accuracy first and foremost, and then crit rate, speed, attack, and crit damage, kind of the 5th priority or whatever, right? So she's kind of tough to build because we kind of want everything on her, right? We want it all. Okay, perception, accuracy sets, speed sets, that all works fine on Luria. You could even try to get cheeky if you're mid or end game and try to throw her in a stone skin to deal with Sun Wukong as kind of a come in as a specialist on your arena squads, right? We have offense masteries, pretty basic. Support, pretty basic here. She benefits from sniper on her A1 ability, take that up to an 80% chance. Or if you're not booking her out on that A3, we can bring that buff removal and the block buffs to an 85% chance. If you do book her out, it's 100% anyway. Master Hexer will extend the duration of those debuffs on her A1 ability and the block buffs on the A3, which is great. And then on the offensive side of things, we did pick up Life Drinker, a little bit of healing, and ended up at War Master. I said there were 3 things I would change if I wanted to run her in the arena. One was the ring, the other one was the chest piece to attack percentage, and the third one would be I would pick up Helm Smasher instead of War Master as a mastery. That way we can really try to give her everything that she needs to hopefully kill and block revive on Sun Wukong. So let me go ahead and push back over here. And for all this talk about arena, guys, I think we should give her a shot, right? Let's give her a shot in the old arena here. Again, we're leaving a lot of damage on the table here, but we have a Sun Wukong team right here. Hopefully I'm faster. Let's see. We just have an Arbiter, a debuffer, a control champion, you know. We actually don't really have another DPS other than Luria, so we're really counting on her here. So that's the cool thing about her. She's at that beautiful flex spot on your squad, right? I actually think she might be a little bit underrated for, like that commenter said at the top of the video, for Sun Wukong specifically. And this dude, that monkey's still everywhere, right? So we give her the increased attack. We give them the debuffs. And check this out. I mean, if she can't kill some of these guys with her A2, we don't care about White Queen on the team. We don't care about it at all because we have block revive. So revivers are plentiful in the game. Same thing with Arbiter, right? It's not a concern for us. Well, we already killed somebody. We haven't even had a turn yet. All right, finally, she gets her big moment in the sun. Again, block revive on Armans, block revive on Sun Wukong. Even if they have a UDK on the team, it doesn't matter. It's an AoE. Sun Wukong, seldom built in Stone Skin. You do see it from time to time, but it's not the popular build on Sun Wukong. Usually it's lethal and Stone Skin maybe in the end game, or it's just lethal and perception, or it's just all-out accuracy and control and perception. So it wouldn't be a massive factor. And again, the beauty here is they could have a Duchess, they could have a White Queen, they could have a Siphi, any of the popular revivers in the game, Galathier, right? It doesn't matter. You know, no reviver can revive a dead block revive other than Lydia's passive. That's the only thing that you have to watch out for, and Lydia's not super popular either right now. But here's another squad. Let's go against this one as well. But I think you guys probably get the point, right? After this, because I can't re-engage my faction wars, I will talk a little bit more about her from the first recording and just kind of share my overall thoughts. But let me summarize right now before we get into faction wars. Here's again her let's just try her A3 here. This is a little bit of a tankier team too, with 2 big tanks and the damage mitigation from AoE attacks. Can we kill at least Sun Wu? We can. Beautiful. Perfect, right? Keep in mind, Soul Reaper or anything like that, it's not going to work on the block revive. In terms of blessings, I would go Cruelty, Crushing Rend, or Phantom Touch. Cruelty, Crushing Rend, or Phantom Touch. I don't have her Awakened on today's video, but if I did, those would be the 3 that I would consider, depending on the configuration of your team and where you're using her, of course. On hellhades.com, they give her best scores kind of dungeon progression. Spider for obvious reasons, AoE freeze, pair her with a burner, you're looking really good. You can do some nasty things with her and like a burner and like a Tormin, just instantly A1 with Tormin, all kinds of cool stuff. Ice Golem, because again of the minions, they can deny revival. I will say Frost Spider, she's going to be fantastic. Frost Spider is a 4 out of 5 because when we kill the Frost Spider with that A2 ability, it will deny the revival of the Frost Spider. We don't have to worry about having an HP burn on the Frost Spider. So those are just a few areas. They give her a 3 out of 5 in the arena. In live arena, she's really not being used. Pick rate is basically next to nothing. Even if we go down to like bronze, we're seeing 0.03%. And same thing in gold too as well, right? So somebody out there likes Luria. Maybe they're using her as that Sun Wukong counter, as we kind of pointed out. Overall, she's a good controller. She's very good in Curse City as well, right? Again, deny revival and freeze and that nice control on the A3. She's decent against bosses. She can help you against waves, right? With the A2 ability. And then once you get to the boss, you can remove the buffs, you can place the block buffs, and moreover, you can land all those debuffs from that A1, right? So over time, we get a chance to heal reduction, good for Fire Knight, paired with Phantom Touch. With any other boss, decreased defense, decreased speed is essential, or close to essential, one of my favorite debuffs in the game. So she does bring quite a bit to the table. If you think you can use her, try her out first, especially if you're a progression player out there. Try her out in Faction Wars, right? Don't even book her. Don't even do the Masteries on her. And just see what you think. See if there's something that you can really utilize in other areas of the game. And then beyond Faction Wars, if you get to a Cursed City area where you're stuck and you really need her, at that point, I would make the investment of the Masteries or the skills, or if you just hit that plateau and you absolutely need to clear it. So guys, let me go ahead and show you some Faction Wars and then we'll sign off. Thanks, and keep the champion guide requests coming as well, guys. Thank you. All right, guys, here we go. Faction Wars, stage 21. Let's see how we do. Man, it's got me thinking that arena run, building her as an all-out nuker for the arena. Look at that freeze, man. Like, it's really nice to have that. Newsflash, it's nice to see the entire enemy team. Freeze not quite as good as stun, but it's still good, really good, right? Still second best in terms of CCs, with the exception to petrification, which is hard to find. But anyway, Dark Elves, I've always found to be one of the easier faction wars, honestly, compared to some of the other factions, but maybe it's just dependable on who you have, obviously, on your account, yada, yada, yada. Let's see. I was hoping we can come in there. Let's see if we can go A3 and remove the the counterattack and the increased defense from one of these Valkyries. Oh, and the block damage would be nice too. Let's see what she can do here. Luria, you're up. She's a second, obviously, from the left. She goes in with the AoE again. At least she froze everybody, right? That's nice. And then she came in with a block revive as well. Super solid. Super solid. No, that was Queen Ava's block revive. I'm like, how did she get back to it so soon? My bad. Queen Ava also on the team. She got a buff recently, and she's really good. She hits extremely, extremely hard. Anyway, digressing to the point I was making earlier, I'm almost thinking, guys, maybe, just maybe, I go in and I do a little main video on Luria as a Sun Wukong counter, right? We build her like all out nukage. That might be pretty fun. Anyway, here we go, doing some damage. Get to the red boss. Luria, you know, as we kind of wrap up the video here, guys, I didn't mean to be so negative on this champion at the top of the video. She just used to be a lot better, so to speak, because there was just a lack of options. But having that deny revive on the A2 definitely makes up for the fact that it's, you know, the freeze on the AoE is not as special as it may have once been in the game. So I think that, you know, she's definitely, compared to some other epics out there that we've covered here on the channel, she definitely can help out a lot of accounts. The cool thing is, as we talk about with a lot of these champions, you don't have to fully invest in her, right? You don't have to get the Masteries. You don't have to, you know, book her all the way out if you don't want to. Try her out a little bit, you know, get some utility out of her in Faction Wars. See what you think. See if she can help you in other dungeons. Obviously, Ice Golem, notably, she can do a block revive on those 2 minions. The problem is, again, on that ability, even though the multiplier is pretty solid, it's, you know, you're going to have to get lucky with how much HP those minions have if you're going to land the block revive. So either way, though, she can definitely serve utility as a control and as a semi-DPS or a Sun Wu counter. What does she have here? Damage-wise, about half of our other damage dealers, Cold Heart and Queen Ava on the team. Guys, keep the champion guide requests coming in the comments below. Much love, and as always, take care, guys.